ॐ अजाय नमः। ॐ अव्ययाय नमः। ॐ अविनाशिने नमः। ॐ अचिन्त्याय नमः। ॐ अप्रमेयाय नमः। ॐ अद्वितीयाय नमः। ॐ अनिकेताय नमः। ॐ अनुशासनप्रियाय नमः। ॐ अन्तःसाक्षिणे नमः। ॐ अन्तर्यामिने नमः। ॐ आनन्दाय नमः। ॐ आत्मस्वरूपाय नमः। ॐ आङ्ग्लभाषाविदुत्तमाय नमः। ॐ ईश्वराय नमः। ॐ उदारहृदयाय नमः। ॐ उत्साहवर्धकाय नमः। ॐ एकस्मै नमः। ॐ ओङ्कारविदे नमः। ॐ करुणासागराय नमः। ॐ कर्मपरायणाय नमः। ॐ कालातीताय नमः। ॐ कैवल्यस्वरूपाय नमः। ॐ कृतात्मने नमः। ॐ कृतकृत्याय नमः। ॐ गीताज्ञानयज्ञप्रचारकाय नमः। ॐ गुरवे नमः। ॐ गुणातीताय नमः। ॐ ग्रन्थकृते नमः। ॐ चिन्मयाय नमः। ॐ छिन्नसंशयाय नमः। ॐ जगदात्मने नमः। ॐ जगत्साक्षिणे नमः। ॐ जनप्रियाय नमः। ॐ जितेन्द्रियाय नमः। ॐ जीवब्रह्मैक्यविदे नमः। ॐ जीवन्मुक्ताय नमः। ॐ जीर्णमन्दिरोद्धारकाय नमः। ॐ तपोवनशिष्याय नमः। ॐ तपस्विने नमः। ॐ तापनाशनाय नमः। ॐ तीर्थस्वरूपाय नमः। ॐ तेजस्विने नमः। ॐ देहातीताय नमः। ॐ द्वन्द्वातीताय नमः। ॐ दृढनिश्चयाय नमः। ॐ धर्मसंस्थापकाय नमः। ॐ धीमते नमः। ॐ धीराय नमः। ॐ धैर्यप्रदाय नमः। ॐ नारायणाय नमः। ॐ निजानन्दाय नमः। ॐ निरपेक्षाय नमः। ॐ निःस्पृहाय नमः। ॐ निरुपमाय नमः। ॐ निर्विकल्पाय नमः। ॐ नित्याय नमः। ॐ निरञ्जनाय नमः। ॐ परमाय नमः। ॐ परब्रह्मणे नमः। ॐ पावनाय नमः। ॐ पावकाय नमः। ॐ पुरुषोत्तमाय नमः। ॐ प्रसन्नात्मने नमः। ॐ फलाशक्तिरहिताय नमः। ॐ बहुभक्ताय नमः। ॐ बन्धमोचकाय नमः। ॐ ब्रह्मनिष्ठाय नमः। ॐ ब्रह्मपराय नमः। ॐ भयनाशनाय नमः। ॐ भारतगौरवाय नमः। ॐ भूम्ने नमः। ॐ महावाक्योपदेशकाय नमः। ॐ महर्षये नमः। ॐ मधुरस्वभावाय नमः। ॐ मनोहराय नमः। ॐ महात्मने नमः। ॐ मेधाविने नमः। ॐ यतात्मने नमः। ॐ यज्ञकृते नमः। ॐ लोकप्रसिद्धाय नमः। Om Vitaragaya Namah. Om Vedanta Vedyaya Namah. Om Shantaya Namah. Om Shanti Pradaya Namah. Om Shastrodharakaya Namah. Om Shuddha Sattvaya Namah. Om Shrudiparakaya Namah. Om Shrotriyaya Namah. Om Sannyasine Namah. Om Samabuddhaye Namah. Om Satchidanandaya Namah. Om Sarvahita Chintakaya Namah. Om Satya Sankalpaya Namah. Om Santushtaya Namah. Om Sadave Namah. Om Sumanase Namah. Om Surve Namah. Om Swayam Jyotishe Namah. Om Sita Prajnaya Namah. Om Shamashilaya Namah. Om Jnana Murtaye Namah. Om Jnana Yogine Namah. Om Jnana Triptaya Namah. Om Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swarupaya Namah. Om Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swarupaya Namah. Om Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swarupaya Namah. Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namah. Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namah. First of all, thanks to the host. We are at the 72nd name, which is 2/3 of 108. So you have a milestone achieved today. And thanks to the coordinators from REA, they have been very proactive in inspiring people to host this, closely followed by St. Gabriel and Redlands. They are all competing with each other. I had a great opportunity to meet with many families which would be otherwise difficult for me to do that. This year I took that opportunity to meet as many people as possible. That's really something which is very heartening for me. Many names have been explained, and most of the names which we have for Gurudev are all derived from various sources like Gita, Upanishad, and what is known as Prakarana Granthas, basic texts. Various names like Ajaya Namaha, Avyaya Namaha, Vinashini, etc. And you all know that the concept of religion, in whether it is Christianity, Islam, or Judaism, etc., they are said to be the commands or commandments received from God. But in Hinduism, it is not any commandment. It is statement. There's a difference between commandment and statement. Commandment means thou shalt not do this, thou shalt do it. It is kind of an instruction. You do this and don't do this. Do's and don'ts are applicable to those who don't think. If you are a person of intelligence, I should only suggest to you and make you think and do it yourself. You might have experience with the children also. When they are young, 3, 4, 5-year-old, you can tell them, don't go there. Come here, sit here. Don't lean on the wall. You can tell them, don't do's. But once they reach the stage of a teenager, or even before then, why not? Why should I? Don't they ask? What does that mean? What does it mean? That means they have started thinking. If you say don't, please encourage them to think. They say, I am telling you, therefore you do. That's how we grew up, obviously. And now, even in India, kids are not like what we were. And you say, don't, why should I? Why not? Do, why should I? Because of our respect for the parents, we may not ask that question, but we had in that mind. Given a chance, we don't do it. I'm sure many of you were told certain things by your parents and you said yes, 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 but then you did not. Then you face the brunt of it when you tell and your children don't. Then you realize, this is how I was, and history repeats itself. So, do's and don'ts are for those who either don't think or don't want to think. There are some people who say, you just tell me what I should do. Don't ask me to do anything on my own. Don't they have that? Our Gurudev classifies the people into 4 categories. Or 3 categories. Let us say 3 categories. It's in the foundation course we have. Laborers, workers, and leaders. And you will find in any organization also, in any society also. Laborers are those who don't ask questions. You ask them to do, they will do it. Because the whole purpose of doing any work is to earn money. If I do 8-hour job, whatever you say, I will do it, but give me the money at the end of it because I want to enjoy the rest of the day. Their intention of working is only to get money or get paid. They don't think. I might have told you this earlier. One person was watching through the window and then he saw 2 people working in the road on the side. One person was digging the road, another person was closing it. Did I tell you about that? Again, another person was digging, then closing it. So he said, what a waste of time. You dig it so deep, around, some 5 feet or something you did, then the other fellow comes and closes it. Oh, what is the purpose? So he went down. He said, you people, what are you doing? You are wasting my tax money. He is digging and you are closing it. What is the purpose? Oh, the other guy did not come. He was supposed to put a tree there. Now tell me, is it of any productive use? The fellow who has to put the tree is not there. So we are doing our job. The first person has to dig, the second fellow has to put the tree, and the third person has to close it. The second person didn't come. No, we are doing our job. Do you think it is any use? But that is what is called labor. Do this and don't do this. Don't ask questions. Either you don't think or I don't want you to think. So that's a category of people who are laborers. Who don't, either they do not have the intellectual acumen or the necessity to think. Because they are interested only at the end of the day, am I paid or not? That's all that matters. Whereas you may have worker. Worker is one who has the idea why he is doing this. What is the end result we want to achieve out of this labor, work? Not just doing. But what is that I am going to achieve at the end of the day? Not just the money, but what work leads to. They are called like supervisors, etc., who may look at what you are doing or they themselves are aware the purpose of what you are doing. And they also check whether what they have done is right or wrong. The quality of the work. So they are called workers and they think. Not as much as the next one, but they do think, why am I doing this? The third category of people are called leaders. They understand work is only a process to achieve something far above that. Let us say a construction of a road is taking place. A laborer will do that laborious job of bringing the stone or breaking the stone. The worker will look at it and then make sure that that is properly laid. A leader looks at where the road is leading to. Am I going in the right direction or not? So these three categories of people are there. And of course the fourth one, who is totally different, is called visionary. Who has given the first vision itself. Why this is necessary. Anyway. So when you have religions that has only do's and don'ts, not only, as I said, the Semitic religion, but also in our Vedas are also given certain do's and don'ts. When you do any ritual, you are given this is what you should use and this you should not use. This is how you do it, this you don't do it. Because any action requires a discipline. But when it comes to philosophy, the individual is expected to think. It is, even if it is told by the God, is it true or not? Like if God comes and says, all in this world, fire is cold. Even if Bhagavan says it is, you know it is not a fact. Correct? So, what the religion should be talking about must be validated by a fact. And that is what a person would think. If it is against a fact, or it is does not in connection or in congruence with the fact of a thing, even if it is Bhagavan who is saying, it is not acceptable. Which means that individual has started thinking. In management terms, there are three questions you should always ask. What am I doing? Why am I doing? How am I doing? If these three things you don't ask, then you are labor only. So, what we find in the Upanishad are not commandments. They are called upadesha. Upadesha, advice. The very word upadesha means, Sanskrit word upa and desha. There are two words, upadesha. You might have heard that word. Have you heard the upadesha word? And at least not the small children, they may not know. Upadesh. What is upadesh? Some kind of sandesh. It's not a sweet or anything.
Because somebody has a lesson.
Lesson as an advice. The word is made of two parts, upa and desha. Upa means near. Upanayanam. Upanayanam means leading closer to, nearby, proximity. Upa means near. This is to show. Dishati. So a person who is interested in your growth must closely near you and show the thing. This is how you should do things. Yes, therefore Upadesha is a personal advice. Not a commandment. Thou shalt not do this. It's not meant for one person in particular. Everybody. Whereas Upadesha is not for everyone. It is only for those who have the maturity to think. That's why they say, after many times when we give a lecture, etc., after one whole week of programs, and people come, Swami, yes, I heard your lectures very good. Yes. What is your personal advice to me? This is better, It's better that we don't ask them the questions. Sometimes we ask questions, we get to feel like killing yourself. Our Guruji used to say, after talking about Ramayana for a whole week, one person came and asked, I have a doubt. What? In this whole of Ramayana, who actually is a Rakshasa? Rama or Ravana? Then our Guruji used to say, neither Rama nor Ravana is a Rakshasa. Me. Talking to people like you is my prarabdha. What to do? So Upadesha is usually a personal advice. So that is to indicate something where you need to proceed on by closely next to you and showing it. So our Upanishad, what they have is Upadesha. Even Bhagavan Krishna, what he gave to Arjuna was Upadesha, Gita-upadesha. Isn't it? It's not commandment, Upadesha. This is how you can do. If you think it is right. If you consider that what I am saying is useless, just forget it. So this Upadesha or advice, broadly speaking, are about what is the reality, what is a fact which you fail to see. It's a fact that you have forgotten to see or failed to see. Only if you see, you understand it. Only when you come to see the way I am telling you, then you will realize this is the truth. Like for example, many thousands of years back, or even just few thousands of years back, people were believing that earth is flat. Even now there are people who believe that earth is flat. No, but the science have proved to us it is not. And so, see, whether you want to believe science or not, that is up to you. And if you believe that science is telling you the truth or the fact, then your perception will change. Is it not true? The way you look at things will change. If you don't want to believe the science when it says that the earth is not flat, it is round, if you don't believe that, then you will continue. So what happened was, when scientists have said that this is what it is, and when it was not according to the religion, the end result was they started killing them. Many of you probably know or may not know. Science, as though, went against religion, and therefore religious documents did not agree with what they have said. Therefore, there is a great, amount of punishment and persecution took place in the history of human existence. Today's world we don't see. We give more importance to science than anything else. So what would be, a fact is a fact, whether science says it or religion says it. And until we know it is a fact, it is only a belief. So Upanishads and Gita, what they do is, we suggest to you, you find out. This, therefore, Upadesha is not a do's and don'ts. It is suggestions, advice. Now, these textbooks called Upanishads or Gita are relevant only if you want to find or discover the final purpose of life. If one is not interested in that, one is interested in professional excellence and then doing one's work, you don't need Upanishad and Gita for that. If you are driving a car, do you need to know how this whole thing works inside? You don't need. So as long as this car is driving, that's all I need. You don't need to know how it is working. Do you need? How many of you know even? You open the panel, what is this? I don't know what it is. It's okay. As much as our body, physical body is working, we don't know what all the things are going on inside. Only when it starts failing, then we realize that. Okay, the doctor, you go there and then say, do you know you have this problem for a long time? So, the Upanishads and Gitas are documents about what to discover the final purpose of life. And if that is the purpose of your life, you realize, then there are 4 important Upadeshas, or 4 important statements of suggestion which is given to you. And what is that? That is what is to be discussed today. They are called Mahaa-vakyas. Great statements. Great statements does not mean a long statement. E is equal to mc squared. Is it a great statement or is it's called Mahaa-vaakya. Science Mahaa-vaakya is E is equal to mc squared. Now, why it is Mahaa-vaakya? Because it is a groundbreaking realization. Something which people did not think about before, now, and that has opened up so many things. This statement has opened up in a different way of thinking things. In the same way, Upanishads talk about something which will make you start thinking in a totally different way. And the first statement is, so there are 4 statements, so each one has a category, how to look at it. First statement is, the highest truth is your own consciousness. Or just consciousness. Consciousness is Brahman. Prajnanam Brahma. This is the first statement. Only 2 words. Prajnanam Brahma. So how can it be a big statement? It's a big statement and it's not a long statement. It has a greater impact. Now how many of you even know that we are conscious being? Obviously, when you say, I am not like this. Why? Why I am not a glass of water? Why I am not? Because it cannot think, I think. It has no volition or movement, I have. It is not growing, I am. You can see the difference between you, a living entity versus non-living. Can you see the difference, basic difference at least? A tree or a plant or an animal or a bird is a living entity. Whereas a table or a chair or a stone is not a living entity. It's inert. So what is the difference between inert and living? Is it because of the growth? No. Is it because of it breathing? No. Even between a plant and human, there is a big difference. Plants feel, humans think. Plants would not have or may not have the ability to change themselves. You and I can. Some people live like a plant, that's a different thing. I am having plant-based diet. Finished you are, only plant you are. Sour. No, but nothing wrong with that. But I can think. I can think, and what is the purpose of thinking? That I can change. So this ability to think or ability to look at myself and have an intention to become different, this ability is called consciousness. I am conscious of myself. This table is not conscious of itself. This table chair is not conscious. If it has been conscious, it would have thrown me away a long time back. It would not have allowed me to sit on this. Will anybody sit on your head for long? You may for some time. After some time, get up. You know, it is said that the horses are the most intelligent animals which we come to know, because they at once know, as soon as you get onto a horse, they know exactly whether you can ride or you don't ride. They immediately know it. And if they know that you can't ride, it will take you for a ride. And if you know how to write, it will keep quiet. Okay, now try. So, but yeah, of course, a horse cannot think on its own doing something different. The only human beings have got the ability to observe, analyze, understand, and change. So therefore, human beings are conscious beings. This consciousness, prajnanam it's called. Prajnanam. Jnanam is knowledge. Prajnanam is more than knowledge. It is not just an information that I can use to change. This consciousness is called, in Upanishad word, that consciousness is God, if you want to put it that way. Brahman is the one which we come to know as the highest power. This consciousness that you have is the highest power, manifestation of the highest power. Because all the developments that we see around you are all because of human consciousness. Is it not true? You are able to sit in a house, even if it is very cold outside, you are able to change the temperature, or have a fan, or have a light, or have about the world that you can see from the TV, or you can call anybody in any part of the world with your phone, and you can have a food cooked in your... All these are all human consciousness. We have made these changes to ourselves, made our life more and more comfortable. It's because people started thinking long time back. Isn't that true? So science approves that human beings can contribute to their own change in this world, and therefore that power of thinking, the power of consciousness, is power of the Lord. So the first statement that is made is Prajnanam Brahma. The highest truth, Brahman, is consciousness. Clear? Now, is it a statement of fact or a belief? It's up to you. It is not like thou shalt not eat or thou shalt not do that. No. We are not talking about instruction here. Not do's and don'ts. It is a fact that you failed to see, now you start becoming aware of it. So you look around, there are living beings, all other, let's say, fellow living beings. Each one is conscious, each one is capable of changing. It's their choice. That's why when you see your children or your teenager, why don't you change? What do you think? One boy asked the dad, Daddy, why are you losing hair? And she knows the joke, that's why she's already started now. So he said, because I think. How about mom? It's a joke, don't worry about it. Don't get on to me on that. Anyway, joke apart. So each one of us are capable of changing by thinking. But do we? And we are enjoying somebody's thought. Is it not? See, this construction is done by somebody who thought about it. Or all the equipments and other things that we are enjoying is attributed to somebody's thinking, which are enjoying it. So consciousness is Brahman. This is the first statement. Prajnanam Brahma. Now the second question is, where is it? Which part of the body is that consciousness? I understand consciousness is Brahman. Where is it? The second statement is, that is yourself. I am Atma. I am this. Atma, the self, is Brahman. I am Atma, Brahma. Consciousness is Brahman, first statement. If you want to put it in English, C is equal to B. What is C? Consciousness. Is equal to? Brahman. C is equal to B. A is equal to C. A is equal to B. I am Atma. Atma is A. Atman is A, let's say. A equal to B. Then what is the final statement? A, B, C. Isn't that true? A is equal to B is equal to C. This is called ABC of Vedanta. Atman is consciousness is Brahman, or Atman is Brahman, that's consciousness. Now, this is a groundbreaking statement because this A, the Atman, is equal to Brahman, when it is made a statement like that, that is where the people have problem. Because I consider Brahman, the God, the power is something outside me working. But how can I think that I am that God itself? Or the power of God itself? I am a limited entity here. I am subject to birth and death and change. How can I be that? This is the one you have to think about. This self of you, this individual self of you is, really speaking, Brahman. So that is A is equal to B is equal to C. What is A? Atman. Not Atman, at woman also. Atman is equal to Brahman equal to consciousness. Very good. I have a very good audience today. ABC. So this is the second statement of fact. So at the present moment I may not be able to accept it. How can I be Brahman? So that is where the next journey starts. I have to find out how much of my action or whatever I do is conscious action and how many of them are mechanical actions. Now, you all eat dinner today, correct? Or you had your lunch today, right? You know, you're yawning, that shows you had too much. No, you had food. Now, how much of you consciously doing to digest your food? Do you? Do you do or not? He says yes. Do you do anything to do the digestion of your food? I don't do anything. I don't do. If you are doing, do it. I don't do it. Breathing is taking place, which I am not consciously doing it. It is happening. So anything where you are not involved in doing, it is nature. It's called Prakriti. Prakriti means Prakriti. It keeps going. It does on its own. You don't need to do anything about it. But even that Prakriti or the nature that is doing its job is present, is doing because you are alive. A dead man eats the food, he will not digest. He doesn't breathe. So in whose presence Prakriti works and in whose absence it fails to work, that is Brahman. So when these great masters looked around in this world, sunrise takes place, wind is blowing, the water is flowing, fire is burning. They are not haphazardly doing on its own. They are also doing there because of the presence of consciousness. And nothing in this world can happen without the presence of that power. And that power which is making all this phenomenal world do the work is the same one within me taking care of this. That's called macrocosmic, it's microcosmic. Micro and macro. Microwave. You have microwave. There is a macrowave also. So within me also the same power is working, which is working to make the entire universe work. I don't know how that is happening, but it is happening. Seasons change. Every day the earth is moving in its own circle, because of which we have day and night, sunlight and darkness. Everything is going on without human intervention, thank God. As much as you don't need to intervene here for the digestion, there also don't intervene. It goes on. So this very thing which is in me is what is there behind all the phenomena that is going on there. So therefore, I am Atma Brahma. This very self, this very consciousness which I am, is the same consciousness which is making each one of us do what they do. Not only human, all living beings, and not only living beings, all the phenomenal forces. Bisha asmad vadapavade, Bisha dudedi suryaha, Vishadagnischa indrascha mrityu davadi panchamayiti. This is the statement Upanishad gives. All that phenomenal forces that are working is because of his presence. Right. This is the second statement. Again, it is not a commandment, do's and don'ts. It's for you to think. So earlier it was said that conscious living being I am, who can make a change in me if I want to. Other living beings also have the same consciousness, but they are not working on it. All the development that we see is because of conscious beings who are making the change in this everyday world. And secondly, not only it is that one which is making the changes, everything outside the phenomenal world, that very power itself is present in me as my own self. Clear? A, B, C. Now, the third statement Upanishad says is, you are that even if you don't know it. You knowing or not knowing will make a big change to you. But even if you don't know, the fact remains. Tat tvam asi. You are that. And when I come to realize it as me, as per the advice of the teacher, I suddenly realize that everything else which I thought I am, actually I am not. That is the significance of that statement. What I have been thinking about myself is a misunderstanding. What I have been thinking about myself as subject to birth and death, subject to change, subject to misery, subject to happiness and unhappiness, subject to success and failure, subject to becoming old, subject to having sorrows, all these are all not happening to me. It is happening to something which is temporary, which is a product of matter. Not to me. Because if I am that supreme reality, then which is not subject to any change, which is always there, that which is always there means what? It doesn't undergo any change. So all changes are not happening to me. That is when one realizes death is also for the body and not to me. Any change that taking place in me is not to me. I am only witnessing it. I am only looking at it. But because I did not know before, I have owned it up and become miserable. Not only physical changes that I own it up and become miserable, even the mind. A thought has come which is about something that happened yesterday or day before. Somebody said something and I am so disturbed by that. It is not to me. Me, the one who is ever there, eternally there, has nothing to do with these statements or these emotions and other things that takes place in my mind. I only watch it, and not to me. So therefore the teacher says that thou art, you are that. If you tell your son, you are a human being. So the son asks, from when? What is the answer? What is the answer you give? If you say you are a husband, then from when? Yeah, that's the time. I actually where I made the mistake. Or I am a wife. From when? There is a time when you are not a husband. There is a time when you are not a wife. Correct? So when I say you are human, when? From when? Tell me. From when are you human being? From the time you came to know about it? Or even before that? Today, you know what happened in school today? Yes, what? I was told, what? I am a human. Is it something happened on that day? Whether you know it or not, you are human. It's not something which you became. That's why Tattvamasi means what? Whether you know it or not, even before you know it, you are that. Now, human you can understand. I am human because I am born to human beings. You are a living entity who never dies. You know that? That's what Krishna says to Arjuna. You will never die. You are always there. Now, that I came to know when I was told. But even when I was not told, I was the same. Let us say the dog which is barking, let us say its name is Tommy. You mean to say that fellow, before you name him as Tommy, was not alive? Was alive or not? Whether you call him Tommy or Mummy, it's not Mummy, but Tommy or something else. But the name doesn't make any change to the dog. Nowadays you are calling me some other. I am very unhappy about that. Doesn't matter. Whether you are human or anything else, you are. So this is a statement. You are that. Not you became that or you will be that. You are. Before, now, hereafter. Any time. Which means that any changes that either taking place at my physical body or any other aspect of my personality has nothing to do with that. So the next statement, that is the third statement, make me realize all changes that are taking place only at the level of the matter, not to me. Because I am always there. Nothing can change. Nothing can disturb me. So again, it's a statement of fact and not an instruction. So I am trying to point out this. It is not an instruction. It's not a commandment. It is not about do's and don'ts. It's about thinking. Upanishad rishis as well as the students were highly qualified in their thinking. And their thinking is so subtle and abstract, we even wonder how they were able to go to that extent of thinking. Today we are proud about our scientific achievements, but they were far, far above this. They are far beyond that. Now, having thus gained these three statements of facts, now the student himself or herself will come to confirm that in his or her contemplation, meditation, I am Brahman. I am. This I am Brahman. Aham Brahma Asmi. I am Brahman. What does it mean? It's no more a knowledge, it's an experience. I am. Thereafter, if the entire world comes to say no, you may only laugh at them. You may not know, but I know it. It is not something which is an opinion. It's not my opinion. It's not your opinion. It's my experience. And such a one who has thus reached that stage alone can be called a guru. Because it is no more an intellectual concept to him. I have walked through this and I know it. That's a guru. That's why we call one who has thus reached that stage of complete understanding and realizing and experiencing it, alone he can do the upadesha to others. Mahaa-vaakya upadeshakaaya Namah. One who can advise the others because he has walked the path all the way because of the guidance of his teacher and has come to a point where I have no doubt anything about it. I can promise you anywhere, confirmed knowledge. So thus Gurudev was a person of such a high caliber of thinking. And a number of years he had spent to come to that point. It is not just one day he said, then the next day it is. You know what happens in today's world is children, they read book and they think that they know everything. You know, people say nowadays these children are very smart, you know, because they have too much of information. Information, no confirmation. Lot of stuff. Gurudev used to say, children are vessels to be filled, they are lights to be lit. It's not an empty vessel, you go on pouring it into the complete. Filling a vessel is not the way this education should be. Even if you know a little, you know it for sure. That is your own experience. Then only that is called wisdom. So these statements that are made by the Upanishads are not for us to believe, it is for us to experiment. So the one who has thus experimented these statements in oneself and has come to a conclusion, right, that is right. What he said is true. It might have been said some 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 years back. But truth does not change. It doesn't change from yesterday to today, or years to today, or 1,000 years to now. In the past, fire was cold. It's not that it changed. It changed its nature, became hot nowadays. Is it? Sun was cold actually. And sun was not there, you can say, probably, because then whatever happened. So in the same way, I am Brahman is not somebody's opinion. And it is not also correct for you to sit and think, repeat the name, I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. That doesn't go anywhere. By repeating, you will not go there or reach anything anywhere. No. By repeating it continuously, you are not going to reach anywhere. Only thing is you don't disturb others, that's good. It is not by mere repetition or merely knowing intellectually. Naisha tarkena madirapaneya. Upanishad very clearly says. Esha madihi tarkena ana apaneya. Don't come to conclude this by mere arguments. Don't just apply logic alone. Tarkena na apaneya. Not by mere argumentation. That's why men of wisdom don't argue. You don't believe? No. Good. Go home. I have no problem with that. You don't believe in what I am saying, it doesn't matter. But what I want you to do is take it with a correct attitude and then work on it. Gurudev always said, don't believe because I said it so. Longer the beard, greater should be your doubt. That's why I cut it. Because the Dadiwala said, therefore it is true. Why should it be true? As much as because they showed in the TV, therefore it is true. Can you believe that? Oh, because it is in the Google, therefore it is true. Can you believe in that way? Anybody can write. You find out. Especially when it comes to personal growth, don't leave it to somebody else to tell you. I have to find out myself. That independence in thinking. If we find in all the Upanishads that teacher and the student conversation is so not only intellectual but also as though it looked like, now I don't believe you, you prove me that it is true. Once you read Upanishad and Gita, you can face your children because they are also like that only. They argue. Arjuna how many times he argues with Krishna? No, I don't believe that. That's possible. You tell me why. And it is the responsibility of the teacher to explain it. If he doesn't explain, he doesn't know. That's all it is. Then you are making just a statement. It has no validity. So when you thus read the Upanishads and these statements, you see how systematically the unfoldment takes place. They don't allow anything and they don't allow any statement without having a proper explanation of it. Why it is said. And that is why it's called analysis, Mimamsa, it's called. Analysis, like a scientific inquiry. Uttara Mimamsa, it's called Upanishads. It's an analysis on truth. Like any scientist would not accept a statement made by another scientist unless it is proved to be right. So also no Rishi would take up any teaching unless he himself has found out it is true. So the study of the philosophy, study of this knowledge is a very, very, very interesting unfoldment. I also, like anybody else, any teenager during that time, then I was just doing my work and then, but when I heard Gurudev, my God, how is he thinking like this? How is that he is able to prove things? How is he able to logically put forth step 1, step 2, step 3? I just want to know what it is. That inquisitiveness took me towards him. And he was so powerful, so logical when he would explain things. And at the same time, he gives you the freedom, he gave the freedom to you. Now you experiment it yourself. Many times when people came to him, Swamiji bless me, he would say, bless yourself. By thinking, why should I bless you? He was not a person who would blindly do, and you might have seen in the movie also, he would just completely destroy any blind belief. Don't just cheat people. And he had a right teacher in place, Shivananda Maharaj or Swami Taponam. They were the people who guided him rightly. Not just blindly doing some upasana, go to puja and then throw flowers. And he would often say, throwing the flowers and showing the light would not take you anywhere. Think. You may do it for purification of the mind, but start thinking. So that, not leaning the wall, also included there. that way of intelligent way of living is what is suggested by the Upanishads. Therefore, they are called Mahaa-vakyas, great statement of truths which will change the entire life and the purpose of our life. And the one who took enough time to explain to all levels of people, not only adults, but all the more he was interested to teach the youth, teach the young, because they can think in that way. Many of those who have already 40, 50 or even beyond that, they decided not to think anymore. Thinking is a job for them. Oh my God, I have to think. They are ready for, you just tell me what I have to do, that's all. So that's why I wonder when we conduct the Bal-Vihar class, etc., when you give them some notes to the youth, now go home and think about it. When they come up fresh, nothing. Did you think about it? What? What? When I gave you yesterday, oh, is it so? Today I was handling one class and then they were learning the values. I spent a little time with them. I said, what is a value? What is value? So I showed this watch, said, what is the value of this watch? You tell me. In there blank. $100. 100? I didn't pay that much anyway. It's only maybe some 30 or maybe less than 20, 25. Whatever. So this watch has a value of say $20 or $25, whatever it is. But the value of the watch is not the cost of the watch. I value the watch because I value time. The watch has no meaning for me if I don't value time. Do I have any use for this if I am not interested in doing things in time? A 2-year-old child won't wear, why? I know maybe nowadays, but usually they don't. Why? Because their concept of time is not there. Many times you ask the child, what time you get up? Whenever mom wakes me up. That's all it is. Because it doesn't have that kind of attitude, intention to get up in time and do things. If I don't value time, I don't have value for this watch. So the value of the watch is not the watch. Does you understand? So therefore I tell them amanitvam, adambitvam, all those statements are valuable if you value your growth. Otherwise these are all statements, Why should I bother about it? In the same way, these statements, Mahaa-vakyas, are useful only when I start thinking, where am I going? What's my further growth in my spiritual world? Then these statements are of great importance. To think, to analyze and apply. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kasyat Dukkha Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.